The latest exchange of attacks between the US and Iran has raised tensions across the Gulf region. Iran has launched multiple missiles towards Bahrain and Kuwait. These are the images released by the IRGC of the operation. Iranian media reported that the targets included the Ali Al Salem Air Base in Kuwait, which hosts US forces and the headquarters of the US Navy's 5th Fleet in Bahrain. The attacks triggered security alerts across both countries. These are the images released by the Kuwaiti authorities. It shows air defense systems intercepting Iranian drones and missiles. Kuwait's army says it engaged 7 Iranian missiles, causing only minor material damage and no casualties. Bahrain also activated their air raid sirens as explosions were heard in several areas. Bahrain says it intercepted 3 missiles and several drones from Iran. Both countries have described the attacks as a blatant act of aggression. Kuwait has condemned the strikes as a violation of its sovereignty and warned that they represented a dangerous escalation. The strikes came hours after US forces shot down 4 Iranian-attacked drones headed towards the Strait of Hormuz. Centcom says the drones posed a threat to maritime traffic in the region. In response, US forces later struck Iranian radar sites in Goruk and on the Keshem Island. In response, Iran's foreign ministry says America will be responsible for any consequences of its actions and any further escalation. The ministry said that repeated ceasefire violations demonstrate the US has no intentions of reducing tensions. On Friday, President Trump said he expected the war to end quickly.
We're at a point we're going to come out of Iran very quickly, and it's going to be very strong, one way or the other, whether it's a piece of paper or the very tough way, okay? The very tough way is maybe the easier way, but we're going to come out and your fertilizer prices are going to go way down, just like they were 4 months ago.
But in a separate interview to NBC News, Trump said that Iran still has 21 to 22% of its missiles left.
They have some missiles, they have some drones. I would say percentage-wise, maybe 21, 22% of their missiles. It's a lot of missiles, but it's not what it was when we first attacked.
So you're saying they have 21, 22% of their missiles left?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
The fighting has strained efforts to preserve a fragile ceasefire and complicated talks aimed at securing a longer-term agreement. The war has increased pressure on the White House as markets remain unsettled and domestic criticism grows ahead of the midterm polls. For weeks, US and Iranian negotiators have been trying to extend the ceasefire and restart talks on Iran's nuclear program. However, both sides continue to push for changes to the proposed deal, with little sign of a breakthrough. We earlier spoke to Professor James A. Russell. He's an emeritus professor at the Naval Postgraduate School, and this is what he told us.
Trump cannot bring himself to acknowledge that the United States has lost this war. And the United States continues to launch these strategically irrelevant strikes. There's no political purpose to be achieved by continuing to target Iran's radars or Iran's drone factories. There's no overarching political objective that can be achieved by the United States through the continued use of force, which only, of course, threatens and leads to, as we are seeing, as you've covered in your report, escalation. Now, what I would say is that the second question leads into my first answer here, which is that if the United States is launching strategically irrelevant tactical and operational strikes, the same is not true for Iran. Throughout the war, Iran has demonstrated that it has a clear understanding that force and the role of force is to create political effect